Tim Walz, a coward and traitor for retiring from military before Iraq, says the guardsman who replaced him. Tim Walz, accused by National Guard peers of betraying his country. As a veteran of the Iraqi campaign, I would like to respond to this. If you don't know where the accusations are coming from, they're coming from this. Command Sergeants Major retired Thomas Behrens and Paul Hur wrote an open letter that they posted on Facebook. Basically what they said was Tim Walz was the Command Sergeant Major of his battalion, and in 2005, when the unit received a warning order that they were going to be deploying to Iraq, that Tim Walz abruptly retired from the National Guard and ran for Congress. They are saying he abandoned his soldiers when they needed him the most and skipped out on a deployment. And Thomas Behrens is the guy who replaced Tim Walz as the Command Sergeant Major of that battalion. This Thomas Behrens, who in March of 2020 posted this on his Facebook: "Hurry before they are sold out. One of the best replacements for toilet paper out there." If you'll remember, in March of 2020, there was a toilet paper shortage. And what is he suggesting that you wipe your ass with? Socks that have the logo of the Democratic Party on it. What about this post from December of 2019? If you're having a bad day, just remember there's a Mr. Pelosi. Or what about this post from January where he's taking shots at Joe Biden? That's the Thomas Behrens that wrote the open letter. Thomas Behrens, who is very clearly MAGA, who very clearly has political motivations in his interpretation of Tim Walz's exit from the National Guard. My interpretation as a soldier and veteran myself is this: he was a Command Sergeant Major. If he was just trying to dodge a deployment, he didn't need to retire, leave, or do anything sneaky to do it. He had the position and power to do it. And according to people who served under him, they said the following: he talked with us for quite a while on that subject. He weighed the decision to run for Congress very heavy. He loved the military. He loved the Guard. He loved the soldiers that he worked with. You can't just run for Congress. The stars have to be aligned. A seat has to be vacating in the party that you want to run for. Has to be the right year. You have to be in a position to campaign, raise money, etc., etc. So it's very clear what happened here. Tim Walz was considering a congressional run for a while, as that guy said. In 2005, the stars were aligned, and it just so happened that his unit got tagged for an upcoming deployment. So he was at a crossroads that he weighed heavily and made a hard decision. That decision led to a political career that took him to the governor of Minnesota, where he did a lot of amazing things that he can be proud of. And through his work, we can see his character. And a guy with his character is not the guy that Thomas Behrens and Paul Hur is accusing him of being, especially when Thomas Behrens has clear political intention. And oh, by the way, Command Sergeant Major retired Behrens. While you're busy insulting a guy who served 24 years in the armed forces, what about the guy you're voting for that dodged the draft through made-up injuries, who called a POW a loser and said he likes his heroes not captured? A guy who called dead soldiers losers and suckers. A guy who has so little respect for the flag that he'll hug it just to pander. You call this respect for the flag? So if you want to vote for a draft-dodging, pandering loser who insults POWs and dead soldiers and then attack a guy who actually served and wore the uniform, do you, bro. But don't expect real motherfuckers to buy your bullshit. And to Master Sergeant Retired Tim Walz, thank you for your service, and I will be voting for you as my next Vice President.